Hello, and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 40 for whatever, what is this, January 9th, 2012. Hi, I'm Ryan Higgins. I'm your great and wonderful host. By the man behind the curtain. the other man behind the curtain.
Brock Sager. Hey, what's that A-Team van doing outside?
A-Team van?
Yeah, is that your midlife crisis?
I have an A-Team van?
Yeah.
That'd be
Ryan
awesome.
Scott's going to be pissed off at you that you bought one of those.
An A-Team van?
Yeah.
Cool.
Over the hill.
Who else do I have?
Midlife.
Charlie West here.
Toby.
Yo. What's happening?
It's going.
All right. Yes, this is, I guess, our Over the Hill podcast. So we have to start dating younger, more attractive podcasts and driving fast podcast cars that are red and other such lame jokes that I don't want to make. So, yes, let's talk about some comic book stuff. Last week, we were talking about some of our favorite comics and comics stuff of 2011. We wanted to kind of get Charlie and Toby, if you guys had a couple you wanted to throw down on the list. I know myself, Batman Incorporated and Animal Man. Those were my two big books of the year.
Mine was the Scott Snyder Batman stuff before the relaunch.
Detective, yeah, and JLA.
JLA,
You get one or two
Swamp
more.
Thing, and DMZ.
Well, for me, I think my favorite comic of last year was actually the Teen Mutant Ninja Turtles relaunch.
Really?
Yeah, I actually
Wow.
thought they did a really good job on that relaunch, and I've just been enjoying every issue they've put out and sort of the changes they've made, but kept the spirit the same.
That's IDW for those playing at home.
Yes, amazing. Not a DC book.
Yeah, no. It's been. I haven't caught up. I haven't read the miniseries, and I don't think I've read the last issue or two. But it's been really good.
Yeah, miniseries have actually been just perfect for what they are and stuff.
Now, when they release the trades, are they going to be oversized and clunky, or are they going to actually release normal-sized trades?
As far as I know, the trades for the new stuff is going to be normal-sized and actually pretty affordably priced.
Cool.
But all the old stuff's going to be oversized and clunky, just the way I like it.
Anything else? That's your one book you want to throw out?
The other book I want to throw out is Demon Knights, because I really like that book, and I really like the way they kind of put together this group of characters that some are very underused within the DC universe and some are not so underused, but in general they've kind of brought them all together and it all fits just right for the timeline and everything.
Demon Knights is one of my favorites too.
All right.
Toby, you got one or two you want to?
I got like three probably.
Go for it.
Yeah. Number one, first two are like surprises to me completely. One is The Punisher. I completely love that book right now. And it was, actually Charlie was the one that's like, you should check it out, and I read it, and I was like blown away by it. And I never ever liked The Punisher as much as I do now. I mean, always liked the character, but the stories never did it for me. We're at the point where I'm like, dude, this is really, really cool.
Did you get to read much of the Garth Ennis stuff or the Mac?
I did. I read the Garth stuff when he first did it, the first Mac stuff, and maybe it's Steve Dillon's art. I don't know what it is. The shock factor is whatever, but it seemed like they were just working in for the shock factor. The books were never really attractive to me, but the one now with the two cops and him not saying a whole lot, it's just like totally up my alley. I'm totally hooked on The Wire right now, and The Punisher almost has the Wire kind of feel to it right now.
Did you read the one that came in this last week, where it's just the two cops talking the whole time?
I thought that was excellent.
Yeah, it was really good.
I'm completely blown away by the book, and I'm very excited to see what's next. The other book that I'm surprised by also was Superboy, just because of all the Gen 13 references. And that kind of took me by surprise too. I mean, I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did.
Yeah.
And then yes, Charlie was on the nail on this one, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. As much as they changed, as much as they took the same notes from DC about, revamping and just, freshen things up, they certainly got the same, notes on that. And yeah, no, I'm like, again, I didn't think I was going to like it, like a lot of the DC stuff, and I ended up really, really liking this new take on it. So, and they brought Eastman back. So, I always like Eastman a little better. Well, actually a lot better than the Laird half of the two. So I'm really glad that Eastman is back on it, because the Laird years are kind of hard on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, So I love the sewer turtles. I love the New York downtown gritty, street turtles, as opposed to space sci-fi dinosaur turtles.
Hence why you're also enjoying Punisher.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, those are my books.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm actually waiting because I mean Punisher and Daredevil have gotten a lot of praise this past year, so I'm waiting for the first trade like I did with Heroes for Hire.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to wait for the first trade to check those out.
Well, just sort of touching on this most recent run of Daredevil, it's definitely sort of returned the character to his roots of sort of fighting for the underdog, which they kind of go around in circles. Sometimes he is the underdog and he's getting kicked, and sometimes he's more fighting for the underdog.
I'm curious about that book. I don't know. I flipped through a couple times and I couldn't get into the art for some reason, but I'm curious about it. I mean, I was a big fan of the run before it. I really liked the Bendis and run and stuff like that with the whole when it got revealed. All that stuff was really good. So
yeah, and the Brewbreaker run after that. Was really big,
it was really funny because it's right when I was like, okay, this is the time when I could put the book down. I don't have to keep collecting and put a better writer on it. I'm like, great, I have to keep reading. And yeah, it was an excellent run by the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned a handful of times in this, in both Daredevil and Punisher, I think. Pretty much across the board, everyone here. Brock, you haven't checked them out yet, but really good. Highly, highly recommend both those titles. Well, I think we wanted to talk some other stuff. And there was some other good stuff from last year we wanted to kind of talk about briefly. A couple TV shows, games, movies, comic book related stuff. I think venture outside a little bit. I'd on our Geek Box, the Geek Boxies, I throw out Game of Thrones for probably my favorite show of the year. But if we go straight comic book, there's not a lot. I mean, there's just not a lot of... you think about, there's so much comic book movies and TV shows.
Well, Smallville ended this year.
But if you think, if you really sit down and think, there's actually not all that many. TV show-wise. There's Smallville, Walking Dead,
yes,
Young Justice, Brave and the Bold. And I'm not talking, Naruto.
Mightiest Heroes Avengers?
Mighty Avengers, right? Mightiest Heroes. I'm not talking like what kind of... I think the manga and...
I think Thundercats should be involved in that one.
Well, I was going to say similar stuff. I think the anime stuff, that's a little different. I mean, if you want to say, the latest Naruto Shippuden one is awesome or whatever, that's fine. But I kind of want to just stick with the Western stuff more.
Yeah.
But if there's more,
Thundercats is Western?
Yeah, Western enough. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. So, in this short run, I guess animated would be Young Justice and live action would be Walking Dead. those were fantastic shows.
Yeah, they were.
I finally caught up with the end of this kind of first half season of Walking Dead. And while I kind of was not too surprised by the ending, it definitely was a very powerful moment. And I won't spoil it because I know, Brock, you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I don't watch them. I watched Walking Dead the first season when it came out.
What we're talking about right now? Walking Dead. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, Young Justice, something. I missed something.
Young Justice is pretty crazy, too.
Yeah. Young Justice
got real crazy.
One of my favorite things about Young Justice currently is they keep bringing in characters and stuff that I don't think have ever been animated before.
Zatara. Mm-hmm. A young Zatanna. Mm-hmm. Some crazy characters on that show.
Oh, I love that show.
Speedy.
Forever people ever been animated before?
I want to say they were on the Superman animated series, but not quite the same way. That was kind of a weird episode with the Superbike and then the Forever people. I'm not sure. I didn't dislike that episode. It just felt off from the rest of the season. I don't know.
Oh,
maybe it's because it stepped away.
Try to get the ball back.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe they have this.
I love that episode.
Yeah, that was cool.
I don't know. It just felt maybe they stepped away from this sort of mystery thing because there was a handful of episodes that wasn't really directly involved. They have Brock, Young Justice. It's the Teen Titans.
Yeah,
and they have this giant cybernetic ball thing that follows them around.
Yeah,
and it turns out
Superboy is collecting all these abandoned
these
animals and toys and other things. Yeah,
on all their adventures, and it turns out that it's the super bike from the Forever people, and they meet the Forever people and fight around a little bit and then work it out.
That show has been really cool.
I thought you were going to tell me it busted into Noah's Ark and shit.
No.
I was scared there for a second.
But Brock was going to say something about The Walking Dead. I'm sorry.
Well, I watched The Walking Dead the first season as it came out, and then this second season, I watched the first episode, but I'm not really good with watching stuff every week to week.
Yeah.
So I'll pick it
that's
up
why
when
God invented the DVR, man.
Yeah, that's why, man created DVDs and Blu-rays.
You could buy that too.
Yeah, that's what I'll buy.
I mean, for me, what it really comes down to, and I mean, this is true for comics as well, is if you don't get fully sucked in by the previous episode, it's really hard to care about watching it right away. And the nice thing about searching shows or comic books in terms of waiting for trades is you kind of always get that significant chunk where you can really judge, I like where this is going or I don't like where this is going. And there's been a lot of flack about the Walking Dead show online about how it's sort of spinning its wheels, but I didn't watch most of the season till they had finished the half season. Like I watched the last 4 or 5 episodes, and
I kind of did the same.
Yeah, it actually, I think it played better that way than waiting from week to week.
Much like reading a trade paperback, and much kind of like Lost is favorite show of a lot of ours, and
I still have to watch that.
Yeah, you should. It's really good.
You should. Top 5 for me.
But Lost has a similar fashion where the week-to-week episodes were great, but when you sat down and kind of marathon through a big chunk, it's like, wow, you really see how this show works. And Walking Dead, you get such small character snippets in every episode that it works really well. I think I watched the first 2, and then we took a break, and then I watched the last 4 or 5. All of
So
them.
the second season is done, or is it halfway?
It's halfway.
But how many episodes can second? Because the first one was really short.
It's probably another 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
They extended the number of episodes for season 2 compared to season 1.
Yeah, they're doing kind of like what USA does, where they they're 7 on, 8 off, 6 on, where they kind of mix shows up in between.
I hate that.
I would rather have 7 episodes in a row, a few month break, and then 6 episodes in a row, like week to week in a row. Than this bullshit of 1 episode, 2 weeks off.
Oh no!
3
I
episodes,
agree on that.
2 repeats. Fuck that.
I agree on that, but I almost prefer if they just show the show later, like a month started or 2 months later. Show the whole run at its own.
Well, I think you go 6 to 8 episodes. You repeat those 6 to 8 episodes.
Yeah,
and then you show them again.
Yeah.
And then repeat. I'm fine with that. I really like the way USA.
I'm a big white collar fan, a big Covert Affair fan.
Right, I like that's how they do it.
Yeah, but they take 6 months break, 4-month break.
That's what I'm saying, because I watch Psych and Bird Notice, the other shows on USA, but what they do is they do 6 to 7 episodes, and then they break for 6 or 7 weeks, and then they come back.
Yeah, but see, on white collar
and then they go to the next season.
Yeah,
then they have their 6
see, on white
break.
collar it's not. It's like a 3-4 month break. It's like we be back in January, and it's like September. I'm like, what?
But with Burn Notice, what I like is they break, but when they release it on DVD, it's not half season. Half season.
Forget those. I'll never buy a half season.
Which we had a lot of when we had the writer's strike a couple of years ago, where they broke the season in half, didn't know how long it was going to be, and so they released it trying to get you to.
Yeah, I won't buy.
Like flash forward.
Yeah, they did that mainly because they were afraid they were going to lose viewership when it came back if they didn't give people a way to
crap like Sopranos. They do it in. I remember Sopranos and Sex and the City both had their last seasons were half seasons at the same price of all the other seasons.
Yeah.
What's the point? Yeah. I'll never because Brave and the Bold has been doing these half season sets, and it's forget you. I'm not gonna never touch that. No way.
Because that's with Walking Dead. I hope they don't do that, because it's I would much rather.
No, it's too short for that.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't mind the whole half season thing on certain properties. I personally don't mind that on the Brave and the Bold, because you're still getting a 13 episode chunk when you're picking it up, and the price point does tend to be pretty low I'm a bargain hunter. I don't pick something up unless it's
Charlie is phenomenal at that, by the way. So you guys know, Charlie's phenomenal on it.
At this point, it's either I buy it the day it comes out, or I wait for the complete set. In the case of Brave and the Bold, I'm just waiting for the full set to come out in one giant box set. And if it never happens, oh well, I'll never buy it. That's fine.
I will buy the set that has a Birds of Prey episode on it.
Exactly. They better release the unaired episodes. I watched that episode. It's really good.
Yeah.
The whole episode is a little maybe not appropriate for kids, though. There's the whole.
Have you seen Kids
I
Today?
still dream about that episode.
Well, so the whole episode is for people that don't know, there's an episode of Batman Brave and the Bold that was written by Gail Simone that didn't air in the United States, mostly because of a very suggestive theme song. I'll link it in this episode's notes. But the whole episode is about he gets this cape or scarf thing that gives him like, I don't remember, like 9 lives or something like that. Oh, you're right, because Catwoman's trying to get it. Right, so it gives him 9 lives. And so Batman dies, like, constantly in the show. Like, he keeps dying and dying and dying as he's wasting out the lives on this cape. And it's not graphic, but it's maybe... The death maybe kind of what put it over the edge. Along
Was it
with
the death or the song?
Well, along with the song.
I don't remember 100% clarity on this, but didn't they essentially do the same thing on the Emperor Joker episode? Because the Joker, once he has all that power, can kill and bring back and kill again?
Yeah, maybe. But this was, I don't know. This felt a little more raw than like crazy big ultimate power. You know, like this was just random guys killing Batman.
They censored it because of the song.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm sure it was. But
kids are watching Jersey Shore, so
oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if kids are watching Jersey Shore, their parents don't really have too much of a. But this was supposed to be safe because it's Jersey Shore. No parent can really claim this was supposed to be safe because it's Jersey Shore. Versus Batman. It would cause such a huge issue for so many people if they weren't able to separate it properly. I mean, you could also sort of talk about the way they do Doctor Who in the UK. They kind of have Doctor Who that's more their sort of
family one.
You have the Sarah Jane that's just the kids show, and you have Torchwood that's the adult show. And Doctor Who will never appear on Torchwood, but Torchwood can appear on Doctor Who because of that issue. If you have Doctor Who there, kids are going to go there. And
That's sort of that was DC's kind of rationale with the Vertigo characters for a long time, is they didn't want the Superman or Batman appearing in Hellblazer or Swamp Thing. So.
Yeah. There's 2 more TV shows actually we can talk about that's somewhat related to comic books. It's the 2 wannabe Fable books shows, books. Grimm and Once Upon a Time. And Once Upon a Time, since we're all losties over here, we can also briefly talk about Once Upon a Time, which took kind of the lost form. You like it?
I like it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I completely dislike it. I watch it every week or every time. Every time I'm like, I hate the show. I mean, I feel it's really slow. I don't like the way the story is taking place. I think all the stuff in the flashbacks are really corny but it's set up very much like Lost, though. It's set up very much like Lost.
Yeah, I borrowed the first few episodes from my friends on the internet. I don't
borrowed
even know.
On the internet?
Yeah, well, my friends on the internet. Let me borrow them. So I'm just not sure I don't even think I'm going to watch them. I just don't think I have any interest in either of them. Yeah.
Well, Grimm, it's really fun. Before they came out, I thought I was really going to dislike Once Upon a Time and really going to like Grimm. And it was like a total 180 on both. I was like, I really dislike Grimm because it felt like a Supernatural / Buffy wannabe, Buffy Angel wannabe. So I disliked that show a lot faster and thought it was really lame a lot faster, even though there's one episode I actually really liked. But on Once Upon a Time, the show I actually thought it didn't like actually caught me a little bit on the story level. But still, the slow pace and the corniness really, I watch it just to watch sake, but I kind of base it on if I ever watch it again. I don't think I watch it again. I won't buy it on DVD later.
I would actually agree with that. I don't think I would watch Once Upon a Time over and over. I mean, on going back to the Lost comparison, I've watched like the first season of Lost, and I'd probably say even like the
Lost
first
is far
4
deeper.
seasons.
I think Lost is far deeper.
Those so many times. And I still kind of think every once in a while, I want to go back and watch Lost.
Yeah.
I let one of our customers here the Blu-ray box set because he had never watched it, and he marathoned through the whole show in like 2 months or even a little less than that. And he's like, oh my God, this is awesome. And he keeps posting like Lost quotes on my Facebook page. But yeah, no, I need to go back and rewatch Lost.
The Lost story between me and Charlie here is actually a pretty good one. It's like after the first season already came out on DVD, me and him do the usual Black Friday shopping. I'm staring at it, holding in my hands. It's like $20, and I'm like, okay, well, this Evangeline Lilly girl is kind of cute. I'm like, Charlie, you sure this is worth it? He goes, yeah. In fact, if you don't like it, I'll give you the $20, and you can sell me the deal, and I can make something of it. I'll give it to a friend or something. I'm like, all right. I bought it. The next morning I call him, Charlie, I hate you. He's like, well, what happened? I'm like, I'm halfway done. I haven't slept one bit, but I'm halfway done.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Excellent show, that show. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, I still need to watch it.
You should. It's
Yeah.
all on. Is it all on streaming?
But-
Did Netflix have it yet?
I have no idea.
don't
I buy
be all
everything.
on
Don't
streaming.
stream TV shows on Netflix and expect to get the whole TV show.
What are you talking about?
Because I was going to try Breaking Bad because a friend recommended it, and I started watching it, and he was there at the time, and he goes, "Something's missing." I'm like, "What?" They cut out things on the Netflix, so it's not the full episode. He's like, "Yeah, there's supposed to be like a scene where, the kid from the class comes in with his girlfriend, and he's cleaning." He's like, "That's not in there." So
weird.
you got to watch out with Netflix for. I think they cut out some things too.
Nah.
I've never heard of that.
That's
No.
bizarre. Yeah.
The only
I went and bought Breaking Bad cheap, so I don't care.
there's a few instances where I know there was definitely something wrong with the copy they got of something.
Yeah.
Like I watched all the 90s Spider-Man on there with my kids, and we got to an episode, I don't remember what season it was in, but it was an episode with Tombstone, and literally the timer on it was like 14 minutes, so it just abruptly stops. So they're missing that like final 7 minutes of the episode or something on there.
Weird.
But yeah, that's not censorship. That's somebody gave them a bad.
Yeah.
Or whoever uploaded it didn't upload it correctly.
Well, it's one of those things where I think I would most likely like Lost, so I'll probably just watch a couple episodes, and if I like it, then I'll just get the set.
Or you could tell me you like it, and I'll find you a bargain.
He will. Charlie will.
Let's briefly move on here
Wait,
to
there's one more TV show we got to talk about.
What's
Comic
that?
book related. Big Bang Theory.
Fuck off. Let's real briefly move on to comic book related video games that came out last year. There was like two: DC Universe Online and Batman: Arkham Asylum.
Is that really it?
Or Arkham City. Arkham City. There was the stupid video
There
games
was a
based
Batman.
on.
Wasn't there a Batman Lego game?
No.
There was the Spider-Man Edge of Time, and
Yeah,
there was
no one
the
did.
X-Men.
Those are awful.
Oh, because it's Marvel.
No, they're just bad. No, they're just bad games. And there's like the Captain America.
No, isn't one of the two good?
Green Lantern,
Edge of Time-
Rise of
The
the
Shattered
Manhunters.
Dimension was pretty good.
Well, Shattered Dimensions was the previous
That
year.
was the previous.
Oh,
one,
was it?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard nothing good about the X-Men. I heard nothing good about the Spider-Man. I know
X-Men was horrible.
I want to play the Green
Spider-Man
Lantern.
was decent.
I want to play the Green Lantern movie game, but I want to buy it for like $5 because Charlie, you said it was like 5 hours long or something.
I literally played through it straight with a friend of mine in one evening. So yeah,
Yeah.
5-6 hours. But I mean, for what it was, it had a lot of fun gameplay and stuff. But they didn't really do a very good job of replicating the Green Lantern experience per se.
Yeah, and I know there's a bunch of Thor and Cap
There's a
games
Thor,
based
Cap
on the
game,
movies,
yeah.
but that's all baby games. So, DC Universe Online came out last year, or right last year.
That was last year?
Yeah, came out
Yeah.
very beginning of
Yeah.
2011.
You don't remember
Ryan
this?
is so
You don't remember-
excited
you don't remember
about
the
that.
great debate of Ryan Higgins. Should I get a lifetime account? Should I?
There was no debate.
There was no debate
There was
at
no
all.
debate.
You
What are talking-
debated.
No.
There's no debate.
Yeah,
debated
Ryan
for
is
all
so
of
excited. He
30
had
seconds.
a hard on for about a year before that game came
true.
out.
Are you kidding me? I heard about that game for the first time in 2005, I
Yeah.
want to say.
Well, your hard on didn't start till the year before.
I don't remember what year it was, but Ryan Scott, who runs Geekbox, kind of told me, like, confidentially, like, hey, they're making a DC MMO. And I was like, whoa, people, what? And I would bug them, like, every other week. So any news in that DC MMO? So any news in that DC MMO?
Yeah, and all my artists that were working on it too.
For
Like
years.
yeah, we're working on that game that we can't tell you about. We're working on that game we can't tell you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not doing any books? No, not doing any books. All my favorite artists were on it. Like all the Wildstorm guys were on it. JJ
basically,
Kirby.
All of Wildstorm was working on that
Yeah.
game. And Jim Lee did all the character designs. And
Yeah.
it's, I still play the game pretty regularly. Yeah, I'm not going to say it definitely launched strong, went downhill real quickly, but a lot of it had to do with bugs and lack of content. But really strong PS3 support, really strong PS3 community. I play on the PC, but I know Charlie, I think you guys were playing on the PS3, right?
No,
You
I
were
was
playing
on the
PC?
PC.
Oh, okay. But I mean, really, Arkham Asylum, or Arkham City, I keep calling it Arkham Asylum. Arkham City, I mean, there's no other point to talk about any other game, really. I mean,
Best
come on,
game of
it's
the year.
Arkham City. It's, yeah, it
Best
is.
game of the year.
It's one of the best games of the year, period.
I played 90% of that game, and I'm still doing Calendar Man
did
shit.
you 90%?
90%, and that's doing some of the Riddler challenge bullshit fighting stuff to get this
Yeah.
many points and shit. 90% of that game is awesome. I almost broke up with my girlfriend over that game, but I warned her in advance. Like I gave her 6 months warning once they finally solidified the date was going to be in October. which to me worked out perfectly because I was taking my paternity leave at the time. I was like, yeah. But I told her in advance, I'm like,
woman,
yeah.
you're on your own.
I'm like,
this paternity is really for
I'm
me
like,
to play my Batman game.
He better be able to watch me play and not, cry. And my son's awesome. He let me play that game in front of him. He just watched.
Toby, did you start to play it yet?
No, I haven't started.
You have it though, right? Didn't
I
you
have
pick
it.
it up?
Yeah, I have it. I just haven't popped it in yet.
Yeah.
See, I'm not a big gamer anymore, but I like to own the big ones, and eventually I will play them. And usually they go down in price before I actually start playing, and I regret it, but I buy them anyways. But I tend to
always find you a bargain.
Yeah, you do. I think we bought this one together, actually. Yeah. I like my games short and old school. Like I like my Super Mario that will play to death forever, and I like my Street Fighter and my NBA Jam type.
Well, this is very different.
Yeah, I know, but the Batman kind of scares me just by if I sit down, I might not leave for a while.
Did you play Arkham Asylum?
I played it for like 5 minutes till I realized I can't read anything on my old school TV. Like, when I click on some of the hints and stuff, I couldn't read it. Like,
so
on my
you haven't
TV.
played it since you got your new TV?
No, I haven't played it yet.
I replayed Arkham Asylum right before.
No,
Arkham
I want to play them. I want to play them, but with all the stuff I do at home, don't really get a lot of time to just sit down and
just
go
get
through 'em.
sick for like a week.
Yeah, then I probably use that week to do something else too. So it's kind of weird. I need to have like nothing to do for me to play it. Yeah, but I want to. I even tempted to play that DC Universe Online. Like
I didn't even try.
I'm tempted to. I actually was tempted to play it when it came out. I was like, Ryan, do you think it's worth? I told Ryan my secret dream is that this one game will come out that everybody's really into. I'm the only one that's not into it. It's my version of like freezing time where I could work on all my crap while everybody's playing this game that I'm not into, and then when they're done with the game, I'm like caught up with all my crap. But DC Universe Online didn't really work out that well for me on that one.
Nope.
Yeah.
Charlie, what's your thoughts on Arkham City?
Oh, absolutely loved Arkham City. Like Brock, I kind of plugged away and plugged away and plugged away. I
watched
90%.
Charlie play for quite a bit. I didn't play myself, but I went to Charlie's house and watched him play.
Yeah, I'm not at 90%. I do want to go back to it, but I kind of moved on from there to Uncharted 3. But
I haven't started that yet.
I've actually not played the Uncharted games. I played the demo for the first one, and I liked it. But at the time, it was when PlayStation first came out, and I didn't really know what games I wanted and didn't have much money.
I've still never played the first one, which is horrible of me. But I've
Uncharted
played to death.
Really good.
Yeah, I have them on my Amazon, and it's like Uncharted 2, and then the combo pack. So I'm like waiting for them to drop to a decent price.
See, this is again where it helps if you let me know what you're looking for.
I know. I will post a list.
Because I could have linked you the combo pack last week for $20.
Oh, you bastard! On Amazon?
On Best Buy.
Yeah, I played 2 levels of Sonic Generations. I'm pretty proud of that. Before I turned it off.
Is that the RPG? No, that's not the RPG one.
No,
That's
it's
like
the old the new meet the old school one, which I actually really like. It's actually a really fun game.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, 2011 also brought us some comic book movies. There's Green Lantern, so of course there's no debating. Best movie of the year.
Was not
garbage.
Not garbage.
But moving on.
Shit in a film can.
Moving on past Green Lantern, there was Thor and Captain America, both from Marvel, and we talked a lot about those. There was Tintin, which came out fairly recently. We talked about that.
X-Men First Class.
That was the other one.
Wow.
We were before the podcast. We were sitting there trying to think, and I don't know how I didn't remember X-Men First Class because
That's the best one.
that may be the best one out of all. I mean, take Tintin aside because that's different. We'll take Tintin aside. That's different. I really liked Captain America.
I really like Captain America too.
I thought you were just talking about X-Men.
No. Everybody gets to talk what they want.
If X-Men is the best, he was saying X-Men's the best,
Yeah.
and I said, well, I don't know if X-Men's the best because I really liked Captain America.
Yeah.
But Cap and X-Men, I mean, those two were so well done, and I think my reason for liking X-Men more than Cap was I was really expecting it to be terrible.
Yeah.
Because it looked just awful, and I heard nothing about it, and it kind of it's kind of a weird comparison, but I kind of feel like this is like a Batman Begins sort of situation where you're used to the last few crappy movies, and so the next time a movie comes out, you're like, oh, this is going to be shit, isn't it? And it's like, oh, wow, this is surprisingly good. I'm still not sold on this new Spider-Man movie.
Fuck yeah! New Spider-Man. I'm all over that one.
some monster lizard and his parents being the
You're
spy.
gonna see so surprised.
His parents being the spies and all that bullshit. I don't
new
like that
Spidey
stuff.
is gonna be. I'm all over the new Spidey. I actually am. No disrespect to Sam Raimi. No disrespect to him as a filmmaker, but I did not like the Spider-Man movies that came out. And I'm totally waiting for the Mark Webb version. I'm so waiting for that.
I'm on the fence on that one.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to commit
You
either
guys
way.
will just... Well, you guys don't believe me anyways because I defended Daredevil for so long, but you guys will be
We'll
sorry.
get to that. Hold on.
You guys will be sorry
We'll get to that.
about this new
this guy
Spider-Man.
did other weird movies that I've never
500
seen.
Days of Summer.
Yeah, I
is
don't.
freaking one of my favorite
never,
movies.
I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it.
500 Days of Summer is not bad. It's jarring because it
500
hops
Days
around
is
so much,
great.
but it's a good film.
Well,
Because I'm waiting for the sequel.
I
1,000 Days of Summer.
No, 500 Days of Autumn.
Is it really?
so
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know. The sequel's not coming out, but yeah, it could be.
Could be a sequel.
So the way I kind of look at it in terms of the Spider-Man movies, the reason why I see potential in the new one is most of the slight. I had very slight issues with the Sam Raimi ones. It was kind of just, no matter how much I love movies, and I really did enjoy the Spider-Man movies, I will nitpick them to death. I will come out of the movie going, that was a great movie. I wish they would have done X, Y, and Z. And the little bit I know of the new Spider-Man, they're doing X, Y, and Z. So I'm curious to see if by putting X, Y, and Z back, am I going to enjoy it more?
Also, I think Mark Webb is a big-time character-driven guy, so I'm really, really excited about it.
Plus, his last name's Webb.
Yeah,
I mean-
that's why you got the job, huh?
I mean,
Your
I'm not,
last name is Webb.
I mean, I'm not sitting here saying it's going to be shit. And I didn't think X-Men was going to be shit. I just was not interested, really.
There's no interest in it, and I think it's because, like you said before, where you use the ex-girlfriend thing. It's been recent that we broke up with Spider-Man, so it's kind of still fresh to us. But
I didn't
the same thing with
hate-
X-Men.
I didn't hate Spider-Man 3. It was just...
How could
Well,
you like
I-
that movie?
yeah,
there was
I
a
hated that,
musical
too.
montage in the middle of it.
Well, maybe that's why I
Okay,
love
I'm
it.
on Ryan's side on this one. It's not that I loved Spider-Man. It's just based on the source material they were trying to cram into that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel like they could have done it any better or worse. I kind of just felt that...
I think you take two scenes out of that movie. You take the fact that Sandman killed his father, or was involved in his father, or his grandfather, or his uncle's death.
His uncle's
father,
death, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. And Uncle Ben's death. And you take that musical number out, and I think people would change their mind on that movie a little.
Nah.
No, not really, because Sandman's character is set up so well in that film, and then he disappears. And it's just gone. There's no Sandman. It's like, and we're focusing then on Venom, and then we're trying to kill whatever his name is character. It takes 3 times for us to do it.
Yeah, for me, maybe it's Toby, actually, in the movie. I think he's a little dull, hence why I'm really looking for Garfield to take over.
Well, for me, what kind of going into Spider-Man 3 gets you, and this kind of goes pointing fingers back to the old crappy Batman movies, is when you start trying to cram in there what you feel people want to see rather than the story.
Well, that was Sam Raimi's whole thing, was he didn't want Venom.
Yeah, that was crammed onto him.
Right.
I mean, he wanted to do what he wanted, and they crammed, no, you have to do Venom. In fact, that's why he's not doing number 4. Because he was supposed to do a number 4.
Yeah.
The studios went again, go, no, you have to do this. And he goes, fuck it. You guys do whatever you guys want. I'm going to go away from this.
Because I think that all 3 films, if put together and changed slightly, you could actually take everything that was in those 3 films and make it really, really good. Gwen Stacy's in the beginning in the first film, she dies. That was part of the problem with the first film that a lot of people had. Was I went to the theater with a couple of friends that don't read comics, and they were like, "Why did he walk away from her at the end?" Like, they didn't understand why he walked away from Mary Jane. Yeah, and it's like, I can understand. You introduce Gwen Stacy, you have her die in how she's supposed to die.
Gwen Stacy doesn't matter to modern comic fans. I mean, it's such an old story that doesn't affect anything currently.
That's okay. She matters to me, and that's all that matters.
But
they casted her quite well, actually. But my other thing of it was I didn't like Kristen Dunst's MJ. I didn't care for it. I think a lot of things with me for the movie was casting. Yeah. A lot of it. I think it started, and I never got into it.
Well, we'll have a whole episode dedicated to the Spider-Man movie when it comes out.
We didn't really talk about the movies.
So let's talk about these other movies. So, I mean, on the Geek Box, me and we kind of came into agreement that we put Cap out as the best of our kind of geek movies of the year. Because outside of the comic stuff, they're actually, I don't know. I didn't feel like there was a ton of kind of more geek-focused movies this year, but of the comic ones, I mean, yeah, X-Men First Class and Cap are the two that I would say.
Those were the top. Thor was pleasantly not. It was good. I enjoyed. My girlfriend really enjoyed Thor.
Yeah, I like Thor. I mean, obviously, we talked Tintin at length. I mean, I love Tintin, and that was really cool.
Yeah, I'd like to go see it, but I'm probably not going to be able to.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm probably going to do the Blu-ray thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'll be a nice-looking Blu-ray.
Yeah, Tintin is going to be great. My favorite, definitely hands down, it's not even a question about, is X-Men First Class. I just think they took the most uninteresting X-Men characters they could and made the best possible movie they could make out of it.
Yeah, totally.
I wasn't really a big fan of the first 3 or 4, however you want to count it. I didn't really. I disliked the first one, which I went to watch it with like non-comic book fans, and they were like, "Oh, it's good. Why don't you like it?" I'm like, "No, I don't like it." Second one, I'm actually kind of cool with. The third one is straight horrible. Yeah. Wolverine, I'm kind of on and off on, but yeah, I was really thrown off. I mean, I loved Magneto in this movie. I loved Charles Xavier. A lot of things I just loved in this movie. The storyline was great. The characterization was great. You know, I was blown away by it.
Well, I agree with you on most of that.
Except for...
the one thing that just gets
someone
me,
needs to be scary.
Especially for somebody who has problems with casting, Kevin Bacon as...
Yeah, that didn't bug me.
Kevin Bacon was awesome in this movie.
He was.
Yeah, it didn't bug me at all.
The only thing... No, because he didn't feel like Kevin Bacon. Like they played him differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing that would have made this movie probably better than Cap in my mind is the worst actress in current Hollywood was in this movie. Freaking January Jones as Emma Frost. She's the
she got the job because she got a Marvel name. January Jones. That's why she got the job.
She is a brick on camera. Like, I don't know what this lady, and I know Emma Frost was supposed to be like cold, but no, that is such a powerful character that should have been played upright, and she
should have been played with more of a seductive feel to it, like a blonde. What's her name?
No.
From the Matrix.
You don't want,
but honestly, I'm actually really glad they didn't, because it could have been really fast. It could have gone from a really cool X-Men movie to it's an X-Men movie and this hot.
There's ways around,
you know. So I actually kind of like that they didn't play it up.
It's Monica Bellucci. Blonde Monica Bellucci would have been hot. You don't know what I'm talking about?
I know Monica Bellucci. She was in. What'd you say? The Matrix.
Yeah, The Matrix.
She was.
Who the hell was Monica? Oh, in the other part. Yeah.
I still think she should be Wonder Woman.
My problem with Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw is he had this sort of like high-end kind of look about him, but he's supposed to be sort of like this powerhouse. I remember so many times him going sort of toe-to-toe with Wolverine, especially with that whole without a shirt thing, super muscular, kind of intimidating. He's kind of like the gentleman who you
but the Sebastian Shaw that we get in the comic books has the look of an old like Renaissance, or like not Renaissance, but like a guy in the French Quarter. Like this is a guy that hopped out of the Les Miserables thing, and he's starting to kick ass. And I think that with them using Kevin Bacon and toning his character down physically just that little bit wasn't bad. Where it's more along the lines of like, let's take Arnold Schwarzenegger and make him Mr. Freeze. That doesn't work at all. So I think
but to me, you can't do the images and stuff that I associate Sebastian Shaw with from the comic books with Kevin Bacon pretty much ever.
Well, here's the thing.
And
I don't think I've seen any Kevin Bacon movies, to be honest with you. So I don't actually.
Do you not know the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon?
No, I really don't. I can't name. I cannot name you a movie with him.
Did you
in
watch
it.
Wild Things?
No, except for 2 scenes.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. I don't
Wild
know
Things,
how he acts.
Apollo 13.
Didn't see it.
Didn't you do an Invisible Man or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that when I was like 5. Yeah.
See, now you got me. Now you got me having the IMDb here.
IMDb?
Well. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that you haven't seen a single movie featuring Kevin Bacon. Like, he's in Super. That's not the one I'm thinking of. He's in Frost Nixon. He's in a lot of really random movies. He was in Mystic River. That was a really bad
I think his nose is pretty scary.
Oh, he was in
Star of Echoes, Wild Things.
He was in Bobby.
Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, Wild Things, I watched 2 scenes, and it's obviously which 2 scenes I've seen out of that movie.
Few Good Men, JFK.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen Few Good Men. Okay.
Tremors. Have you never seen Tremors?
Nope.
I forgot. I totally forgot about Tremors
I don't know
right
what
now.
that means.
Yeah.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
No.
See, Footloose? Now,
Nope.
now, before we started recording this podcast, we discovered the Toby. Now, I'm not going to give you shit for this, and I'll tell you why.
We will.
Yes.
You didn't really have any interest in Prometheus coming up. That's the new Ridley Scott
Yes.
movie because it's tied with the Alien franchise, and you had never seen Alien or Aliens.
No.
And then in making the jokes, you'd also never seen Spaceballs.
Nope.
So was this just by the time you came to, were these things in Europe when you like?
I don't know if I really don't know because we had Airplane.
Okay.
But I don't know if we had Spaceballs. I really don't know.
Yeah.
It might have been just my friends were never seen it or nobody ever rented it. And it just wasn't in my friend group.
When did you come here?
95.
Okay, because I'll give you that's enough time has passed that these are probably not current Alien and Aliens especially were not current things in 95.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of give you that, but you've never gone back and watched those.
But
Yeah, no.
even in terms of current, they've had some big releases for those on like DVD and now Blu-ray. I mean, they've made big
Well,
deals
I
out
don't.
of
Maybe
those a
it's
couple
me
of times.
working at Legends having to sell the stupid alien figures and got me.
Oh,
You know what?
God, that
Yeah,
alien
so, you know,
head.
yeah.
That I could see that.
Yeah, you know,
can
I
see
was just
that.
like, I do not care. Like, there's this stupid alien head we had
Yeah.
at this other store that I worked at.
Yeah.
And there's this one idiot would come in every freaking week asking for this alien head. And I'd be like, it's $350. And he discounts, no, I can't. It's $350. All right, can you take it down? I'm like, all right, I'll take it down. He looked at it for about 15 minutes. All right, I'll come back for it next week. I have the money. It's in my pocket. He showed me like his wallet with like $100 bills. I have the money. I'll come back for it next week. Next week he will call me. Hey, is that alien head still there? I'm like, yes, it's still here. How much is it? It's still $350 like last week. I'm gonna come down right now. All right, it'll be here, and then come. I have to take it down because we had it up high. We'd take it down week after week, even to the point we gave him the name Alien Head Moron. Like he will call and someone else will pick up the phone. Yep, it's $350. Yeah. He will hang up. Fucking Alien Head Moron called again. We even left his phone number and sticky note because we never knew his name. We called him the Alien Head Moron. Put the phone number down. Even when we had a sale, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna call this guy. Hey. We have a sale on that alien head finally. We could give you a discount. Will he come down? I'll be down. He looked at it for about 20 minutes. I got the money. Hold it for me. He never bought it. It's still there.
What the hell?
So I think maybe that had a lot to do
Is
with
that
it.
alien head still there?
I think it is. I don't know. Charlie, do you know?
I don't remember one way or another.
That's
I just
hilarious.
Yeah, I just, you know, and all those stupid toys and all the stupid. No disrespect for Alien fans. I'm not disrespecting you guys. I just had to deal with so many Alien toys from like McFarlane and all that stuff and pricing them, and I just don't know. I mean, I like Ridley Scott. I'm actually a Tony Scott fan. I'm a big Tony Scott fan, and Ridley Scott I respect, but I'm far more a Tony Scott guy than I am a Ridley Scott guy. So I just never had the interest. And creature movies just never really interested me that much anyway, so I just never got around to watching it.
Well, I think we've decided that if you do go watch them, you need to just watch Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, so is that my like homework before 2013?
That's your homework before Prometheus this year.
Oh, is it?
Speaking of homework, I guess we're done with our 2011. Yay! 2011's over.
We didn't cut out Captain America.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Or the other one.
What other one? Thor.
Thor?
Green Lantern?
Yeah, because
We
I
don't need to
want-
talk Green Lantern anymore.
Well,
They're fine.
I think I didn't like Thor or Iron Man really, or not Thor and
Green
Captain
Lantern.
America.
You
don't
just don't
Cap?
like the Marvel movies, huh?
Well, no, I think Thor was fine. They played it safe. They just didn't take any risks. I think the movie could have been a lot better if it just taken a little bit of risk. They played it safe. I have nothing bad to say about the movie. I just wanted more.
Yeah.
Like going in, I'm like, okay, I can see why they did that. It's safe, and then we're gonna make a boatload of money. I just wish they did more, but that could have gone either way. Me asking that, next time they might take a risk and might go in a completely different way, right? Same thing with like Cap, but the Cap, I kind of wish they ended it differently. But Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of
you knew they were going to end it with the
No, but I wanted him to go back to like either see the girlfriend, the date. I wanted to see her as an old lady or like on her deathbed almost. I would felt that would be.
We might get that in Captain America, the second Avenger. I mean, the two.
I wanted that as an ending rather than being hey, we got this big giant Avengers movie coming up. I wanted kept as a movie on its own, rather than a lead into Avengers. And
all of the Marvel movies have kind of been building up to that.
I don't know if I like that. I mean, I like that they're in the same universe. Don't get me wrong, and I like the little cameos by Nick Fury and all. I love those, but I don't know. Like Captain America, out of all of them, felt really much like this big movie is coming, rather than hey, this is my movie.
I understand what Toby's saying, just on the level of all the other movies sort of stood on their own, and then was a little snippet at the end, after the end of the credits, sort of building into where the Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is, if I show this to my grandma or mom, and the way it ends, it'd be like, what the hell is happening now? And you have to explain to them, well, there's another movie coming out. But anyways, and also I'm a little worried about how Captain America looks in the new Avengers movies. I keep thinking he looks like a giant dildo man. But we'll see.
Giant dildo.
He does. When he has his mask on, he looks like a giant dildo man. I'm like, I hope like it doesn't come off that way when we see
are
it.
the Avengers just going to be like a plethora of looking dildos with
No, just Cap. I mean, I like how he looks
Iron
without
Man
his
vibrates.
mask.
Iron Man with his little vibration.
Yeah, I like how he looks without the mask. But when he has his mask on, it just looks weird to me.
Black Widow's the Scarlet Tickler, or with the French Tickler.
Honestly, that's something I'm curious about the Avengers movie, is how much time are the characters going to be with mask off?
Yeah, I think going to be more than they are with them on.
Every scene where they're not out in the field. Yeah. Well,
hold on. No. Back to just a last comment. Shut your face. I will kill you. I thought the funniest thing about this past year with the Marvel and DC was that the DC did phenomenal with the comic books. Like, they blew us away this year. The DC movies, garbage. Marvel, shitty with the comics.
You know Ryan's flipping you off right now, right?
The movies blew us away. I mean, statistically, the movies blew us away this year with what we got from Marvel. So I just thought it was kind of a funny contrast in the sense of, for one, the movies were great, and the other, the comics weren't so much. Oh. And the other one, it was the comics that were great, and the movies that weren't so much.
Yeah.
But honestly, when it comes down to it, and this is a rant that I may have even said on here before briefly, but that's one of the things that kind of excited me about Ultimate Spider-Man when it first launched, and all these other kind of properties where they can sort of revisit something, tell it fresh, keep sort of the spirit of the character, and even adapt some of what you've seen in comics. And I think, at least for me, in terms of the comic book movies, is when they overreach trying to give everybody what they want in one movie is where things start to sort of fall apart. And you could even say that in
Daredevil.
What?
Well, Daredevil in X-Men 3, because you had so many threads coming from so many different directions in that movie. Spider-Man 3, even the old school Batman movies, when you start
even
trying
Wolverine
to...
Origins had a ton of people crammed into that film in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I just think when you start sort of cramming in more and more for the sake of trying to give people what they want, you lose the story.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel, to a degree, that's what happened to the Marvel Comics, is with all these events, you're kind of cramming in all this stuff that's going on to the point where the only comics that I get really excited for tend to be
the slow
Punisher and Daredevil, where they're building on their own and sort of keeping to the core of those characters.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I want to give it up to my friend Kenny Choi, who was in Captain America. He's that Asian guy and the Howling Commandos. So congrats, my buddy.
Nice.
Yeah. So I did actually a short film of him like years ago, and we've been in touch. So I'm really glad for the guy that he made in a movie like that. So
real funny, that scene in the trailer where they're kicking down the door and bursting in. I want to see a movie based on like that scene alone.
Yeah,
it's just like this little segment.
Yeah, all like the Cap and Bucky stuff.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah.
And Kenny got one of those posters they only had to crew and cast, that the old Captain America knockoff where he punches Hitler.
Oh, cool.
As a movie poster. Yeah, he got one of those. I'm like, man, I'm jealous.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It looks way cool.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, speaking of homework that we were talking about earlier, I was told that by the end of 2011, I had to watch a seminal classic in comic book movie history, and that was the Daredevil director's cut. If not, I would have to be subjugated to hours upon hours of Big Bang Theory.
Which you will not do.
And since that was not going to happen, I broke down and on New Year's Eve, christened in the new year with a friend
About
of mine,
2 hours before midnight.
right, and watched the director's cut of Daredevil. Now, I promised Toby and Brock that we talk about this.
Yes.
I have not
You
seen...
promised a whole episode, by the way.
Well, like a segment
We
about
really
it.
can't do a whole episode.
Yeah, we can.
Unless we're doing it as we're watching it.
Because, yeah, it could be not only about the movie, because it could be a segue through the whole Daredevil thing.
Be an hour and a half of me snoring.
Yeah.
So
That's what will happen when we do a Green Lantern movie one.
Yeah.
now, when
least
this
the first
movie
part.
came out, when the Daredevil movie came out, I remember when we left the theater, my girlfriend was like, "Did you like that?" And I was like, "There were some okay. Like, I liked parts of it. Yeah, I liked this 5-minute scene, and I kind of like some of the fight scenes. But overall, nah, it's a pretty bad movie." But I haven't watched it since I watched the original one. So going in to watch the director's cut, which you guys, everyone's like, "Oh, the director's cut's so much better."
It is.
So I went in and I'm like, okay, totally, I'm just going to watch this for what it is. I'm not going to no preconceived notions about this. And I was actually surprised by how much I remembered from the original. And I really felt like, wow, this movie, even though I didn't really like it, I'm actually surprised that I remember almost the entire movie. And obviously the new scenes are different. For people that
That'd
haven't
be
seen
pretty
it.
funny. He remembered the new scenes.
For people that haven't seen it, the new scenes introduce this sort of backstory where Matt Murdock is trying to defend
Julio.
a Coolio, who's like, he was accused of killing a guy.
No, a rapist.
But I thought no, he was
a whore.
Or he was accused of killing a prostitute,
Yeah.
right? That was employed. Basically, it all led back to the Kingpin.
Yeah, she was employed by, Pillow Talk. It was Pillow Talk. She was screwing one of the Kingpin guys. He would Pillow Talk. She was leaking the information to Ben Urich.
Oh, okay. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, it all led back to the Kingpin.
Yes.
And I do remember. I don't remember watching it. Sorry, I don't remember when I watched it the first time thinking there was anything weird about when they arrested the Kingpin at the end of the movie. But now I guess going back, it doesn't make sense because the entire reason this whole subplot got taken out of the movie.
Yes.
Yes.
And so the whole reason he gets arrested was taken out of the movie, but they still arrest him at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that being an issue when I watched it. It seemed to for whatever reason work for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, watching this movie for the first time for the director's cut, it was interesting to watch this again, but it really didn't feel any different than when I watched it the first time. I mean, I still like the scenes with Bullseye. I think what's his name?
Colin
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
I really liked his Bullseye. Bullseye
Yeah.
was hilarious.
Yeah,
really
he
good
did
job
a
with him.
great job on it. I just didn't wish he had the imprint on his forehead.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me too much.
I almost wish he had the skull cap on throughout later in the movie. It would have looked a little scarier.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
And Michael Clark Duncan, I actually think was a great job. I think
Yeah.
he did a good job as Kingpin.
No,
for
he's great
what
casting.
they could do with him. I mean, you can't rewrite the script, but what he had to work with, I thought he did a good job.
And he loved being the Kingpin. I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched the making of. He was
Yeah.
really excited to be the
Cool.
Kingpin. Yeah.
So, I mean, there were parts of the movie that I did enjoy, but it was weird rewatching it. I don't know that I made this comparison when I saw it the first time, but for some reason, it really reminds me of the Blade movies. And I don't know if there was maybe some...
No, I would actually say it reminds you probably more of the old Batman and the Crow movie. So much was copied out of those movies into
Yeah, I could see
Daredevil.
that too.
Yeah.
But I could see that too, but I don't know. For some reason, I really felt like maybe it was just some of the subway shots or parts of the scenes. Maybe just think, wow, this makes me feel like the first two Blade movies, which I love. I mean, I love the
lighting.
first
I think it's the lighting. I might think. I might think. Well, yeah,
I
what
could
you're talking about.
see where you're coming from on that. I mean,
Yeah.
just a lot of the sort of gritty lighting feel to it would be very sort of comparable between the two.
You know what? I don't remember.
You know what? I know what it is. It's the motion of the characters. Like Daredevil, when you see him move and it's close up, it's kind of like it's like this slow kind of jerkiness. But when you see them fight, for some odd reason now it's fluid and it starts to move and stuff like that. Where both films had that kind of feel to it, where Blade kept going in and out of the shadows, and all you heard was whoosh, whoosh. And
Yeah, there was a lot of sound effects.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sound effects.
And
to
Daredevil's
cheat the
really
fighting.
moving around and kind of jerky, but when they end up starting to fight, then it's this fluid kind of motion to it where it's like, yeah, they're on wires, but it's I can kind of see it from that standpoint because they're all dark films.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it really is a case of it kind of reminds me a little bit also of the Fantastic Four movies, where I thought a lot of Johnny Storm was great, Ben Grimm was great, but when the main characters suck, it's like
And Doom.
And Doom, the main villain.
Doom destroyed that movie for me.
In Daredevil, I loved Jon Favreau as Foggy. I thought he was hilarious.
Yep.
So it's like, but when your main characters, when Daredevil and Elektra and when they suck, like it kind of just takes away the whole rest of the movie.
Jennifer Garner didn't. I mean, yes, she's supposed to be an assassin. Yes, it wasn't quite correct after the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, but it didn't bother me, and I thought she was actually a good casting for it. Especially since they were originally looking at Penelope Cruz for it. Before that, it was like Lucy Liu for it. I mean, they had some really, really weird ones on there. And I like it when actors really get into it. Jennifer Garner actually really trained those eyes to the point where she actually got a hold of them. And, she really liked the part. Hence why they did even that really awful Elektra movie.
Oh, God.
Being a story-driven guy the way I am, to me, they start out the movie with a very innate flaw with him killing somebody that sort of...
that was a really weird thing. He lets the guy die in the beginning of the movie.
He straight up pushes the guy back into the train.
Yeah. But he lets him die, and then he doesn't kill the Kingpin in the end of the movie, saying he's not the bad guy, which is really bizarre. That was a main flaw for me.
Just in general, there are certain things that Matt Murdock is sort of supposed to stand for, which with the director's cut, they brought back some of that, thankfully.
Yeah.
But they kind of just, from the very get-go, screwed up on one of the things that Daredevil's about, which even like the story it's supposed to be based off of and the whole Frank Miller run and all that, regardless of who they cast in the parts and that kind of stuff, it's very easy for me to blame the actors if they are given the correct story and stuff to communicate the proper emotions or whatnot in scenes and they can't do it. The movie was flawed from the get-go. I can't really blame the actors for not being able to pull off something that's
Well, you know what's funny?
flawed.
That movie is a problem of having too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There was producers thinking they know what they were doing.
I think they got the wrong part of the acting team. It should have been Matt Damon playing.
No, I
Daredevil,
see.
not
Actually,
Ben
so, well, if we go that way, I'm going to say who I think should have been Matt Murray,
Who?
and it's Ed Norton, hands down. I think should have been Daredevil in that movie, hands down.
How can I not picture that?
I still wanted Ed Norton in that movie, not Matt. Not
to me. Daredevil doesn't. I don't have a look for Daredevil, Batman, Spider-Man, even Superman. For some reason, those characters, I'm like, I kind of have a certain vision in my head. Daredevil can kind of like Cyclops, can kind of be anyone, like generic 30-year-old white guy. Like Matt Murdock doesn't scream personality to me.
Well, that's
despite the hair
why,
and everything.
that's why Ben being kind of dull actually kind of worked for it, but. To me, Matt Murdock was always this really, really good lawyer, and I think Ed Norton would have nailed that down. Yeah.
I think Daredevil would make a great movie. I just don't. This was just not it.
Well, I think there's just I don't know if you watch any of the making ofs, but they couldn't decide on the costume. They filmed half the movie with him having these like long things that come off his mask that they digitally took out of the movie. They had like hundreds. They spent like 8 months on the costumes alone. And
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that Mark Steven Johnson, not that I really like him as a director yet after Ghost Rider at all, but there's so many things he had to go through, like with the studios and stuff. I kind of feel bad for the guy. You know? Yeah. I mean, I think maybe my vision of Daredevil was a little biased because I really, really like the character from the comic books a lot. Sure. Hence why I probably maybe enjoyed this movie a lot more than Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, but I enjoyed this one more than Spider-Man. I enjoyed it more than the first X-Men movie, definitely more than the third X-Men movie. A lot of the...
That's not saying much.
Yeah, and a lot of the really bad, 2000 superhero movies, like the Fantastic Four, all those really bad ones that came out, like in hordes, but... Hulk. But I enjoyed the movie somewhat in the theaters. I still think it's flawed. I don't think it's the greatest superhero movies. I just think it's a lot better than a lot of people say it is.
Is this kind of like, I mean, and totally don't take this the wrong way because it's how I feel.
It's not my Green Lantern.
It's
no.
just your Green Lantern.
No, I really don't think it's as bad as people think it is.
I don't think Green Lantern is as bad as people think it is.
I second that.
No, but Green Lantern's just bad. It's not having to think about
No,
it. It's just bad.
I don't know what it is about Green Lantern. I mean, first of all, me and Charlie talked about this. I would have liked Evangeline Lilly for the Blake Lively part.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think she would have done a lot better. And the other thing is, and maybe it's not even her fault. Maybe it's that silly suit Ryan had to wear while they were acting. I mean, he had ping pong balls all over his body, right? It might have been really weird to concentrate on that. So I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, the changes, there's a lot of subtle changes in Daredevil, the Director's Cut. There's the voiceover in the beginning is far shorter and they show more rather than saying it.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed that a lot better. There's a lot of tiny shots that just added more of the world in there. You know, the whole courtroom case I liked, you know, just because it showed you who Matt Murdock is. You know, I mean, the whole movie just worked a lot better in the Director's Cut. And
I didn't want to shut it off halfway through, but to me, it just kind of felt like.
Also, there were like lines set by different characters. There's, you know, they refilmed certain things. The studios forced them to put the love scene in. The original, when they go on the rooftop and they kiss, they forced them to put that love scene in that's in the theatrical release. The Director's Cut, they took it back out because, you know, when they kiss and Matt hears the stuff going on, he leaves. He goes, I have to go. And she's, no, stay with me. He goes, I can't. I have to go do this thing. Made it a far more compelling movie for me because he's sacrificing what he really wants to save, you know, help other people. Made it a better movie for me.
Well, there was one thing that when watching it, I was surprised how much it really bothered me.
But the playground scene, which bothers me a hell of a lot too.
No. And this is something that I don't know why it's been bothering me so much recently, but it bothers me in the comics as well. The constant references to comic book character names and creator names. Well, I mean, I thought it was really funny.
It's almost distracting, isn't it?
I thought it was really funny the name of rapist Joe Quesada. But having Kevin Smith in the movie, Frank Miller in the movie, naming every character after a comic book creator. Like, most people probably have, your average person is not going to understand.
It's really distracting.
It was every character in this movie, in every place, in every location, and it's
almost like they were trying too hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You get this in comic books where it's like there's in every Superman book there's like a Siegel Way or a Schuster Park or something like that, and it's like okay. But
it would have been really distracting if Batman Begins. You have like Frank Miller billboards in the background and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of go okay because it happens in the comics, but at least they keep it consistent.
Yeah.
Especially like the Superman and Batman books do it pretty often, but I'm usually like okay with it. But it was just nonstop, and I don't remember that. Maybe it didn't bother me when I first saw it, but it really bothered me when I was watching this. But again,
that's because Bendis destroyed the Avengers, isn't it?
Multiple scenes of Joe Quesada being called a rapist. I
made it
laughed constantly. I mean, so in retrospect, it was maybe great planning. So he could see the future. But yeah. No,
I mean, Ben didn't bother me as much as other people did, but he was really stiff and fighting. He was just stiff guy.
Not his. That's not his
but
style.
Again, I think he did great with what he had, and I like Jennifer Garner. I think she did well too.
I'll tell you this: I think he was a fine Matt Murdock.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
I think in the costume,
he was a little stiff.
It just didn't work for me. But as Matt Murdock, and especially the scenes where he was blind, in the cafe, I said those were some fun scenes.
Talking about earlier about cramming things in, I think they probably just tried to do too much with this movie. If they took in some of the stuff out, maybe established some of the things better, it would have worked a lot better.
Well, why even have Karen Page in the movie and have a lecture be like, the girl, why not just have it be Karen Page?
Yeah. I think, like I said, I think they just tried too much. Yeah. I think they could have easily done a trilogy out of it where maybe Elektra shows up at the end, towards the end.
Yeah.
Or you establish her, maybe in the second one she is the one that gets killed, and you got this crazy finale in the third one.
Yeah.
In fact, I think what's really missing is also Stick in this movie. Stick should have been in this movie.
Yeah,
it's really silly that Matt Murdock as a kid is like jumping off of rooftops and stuff, and all of a sudden gets superpowers. Yeah. Because he trains himself. I mean, he says he trained himself, but then
you barely see it.
You see this kid going from like kind of semi-loser to not having eyesight to jumping around on the rooftops.
He goes down a wire. I think that's about it.
And I think it would have been far more interesting if Stick was in the hospital, seeing this kid, and then maybe when the dad dies, State kind of takes him in, going, "Hey, I'll teach you the ways, control your anger and all that stuff." That would have made a far better movie. Yeah. Maybe I get my turn at it. Huh?
Maybe we need to have our fix these crappy comic book movie episodes where we kind of throw in our 2 cents.
Isn't that what every episode is about?
Nah.
Well, normally this would be the part where we have our random pick of the week, but since we're running super long this week, we're going to have one comic pick of the week. And I know we're going to have some extra. Shut up, Brock. And I know
one comic pick of the week.
Yes. And this is our monthly update on.
This should be Charlie time.
Right.
We have Charlie time.
Yes, I promised I'd be back to talk about
Charlie time of the podcast.
Monthly update on our favorite future X-Man not named Bishop.
Okay.
Oh wait, does that include Rachel Summers? Damn, she from the future? Kind of.
Yeah, she is.
Okay, not named Rachel Summers or Bishop. Go.
Okay, so still covering the Avengers X-Sanction event.
Which, for those that missed the first time around, Charlie's the world's biggest Cable fan, so we're indulging him in his...
While also being the Green Lantern fan.
Yes, his love of Jeff Loeb.
I'm having fun being the world's biggest many things fan on this show.
So if there's a Green Lantern Cable book, that'll be it for you. Huh?
If Cable and Green Lantern fought, who would win in that fight, do you think, Mr. West? Please answer in the form of a...
Yeah, actually, honestly answer that one.
Okay.
Like Green Lantern. That's not even a question.
Oh.
Talk about the stupid book.
Wait. No. Comic book Green Lantern or movie Green Lantern? Because the movie Green Lantern has no imagination.
Stop talking. Just stop talking about this. Talk about this comic book.
Okay. Pretty much just to cover it hands down from the beginning. The first issue I actually thought was a sort of solid, middle-of-the-road comic. It had some potential. I wanted to see where it was going. Second issue I actually thought did get better than the first. It's got a little more of, I would say, a greater understanding of where this is going for me, especially because it talks a little bit about all this tech that the Avengers is going to start using, which implies there's something going on more with the mutants than just with Hope, which is kind of interesting.
So for those that maybe didn't listen to the first episode or haven't been keeping up on this series, X-Sanction is a Avengers X-Men kind of prelude to the big event that's coming up, where Cable, who's from the future, has decided that the Avengers are directly responsible for the death of Hope, a girl he has...
well, he didn't decide, he was told.
Or Right. That a Hope who is kind of like his ward, his Robin, if you will, and then that they are going to lead to her death. And if she dies, the world is destroyed. And so he has to come back and kill and fight the Avengers instead of just maybe talking with them. But, hey, that's fine. Comic books are all about fighting.
Joyful mutant apocalypse is kind of what it seems like.
Yeah. This issue was better than the first issue. It's hard to get much worse, but this issue actually was all right. I mean, if you accept the story with where they're going with this, and you accept that Cable's kind of crazy because he's being taken over by this techno-organic virus, I'll give this issue a bit of a pass.
Well, given the fact he isn't actually killing anybody, at least not as of yet, he seems to have some kind of agenda that he's maybe coming about a very odd way, but...
Well, ending the last issue with that blam sound effect
that was
with a gun to Captain America's head, and then there's absolutely no resolution of that in this issue. It's just Captain America's tied up. So what was the point of that sound effect? What was the point of that panel?
The point of that sound effect was stupid, but he actually references the fact that you're lucky. Let's see, where was it?
Did you say oh, you're lucky your head's made out of adamantium cloth? Or that bullet would have killed you.
No. He said
you're lucky a fleece farted. I missed.
He pretty much says if I hadn't stun gunned you, you'd be a drooling mess right about now with what the cherry hooked him up into. So basically, the blam was a stun gun, not a gun.
Okay.
So yes, it was pointless. Everybody who reads comics knows the blam was pointless because there's not hey, look, Captain America just died because there was a no. That was pointless cliffhanger. Whatchamacallit, whatever. But overall, I mean, I could nitpick any comic to death, and we all know this about me. So, accepting certain things that are just going to exist in sort of a comic time frame, I didn't feel like this had as much sort of random, out-of-place dialogue in it as the first one did, which was one of the things that I really was kind of off-putting. Having Cable dragging around an unconscious Falcon talking to himself was just... I'm like, yeah, Cable...
Well, this one had... It was more of just... It was a fight between Iron Man and Cable.
Which I liked. I actually liked their fight because I like that Cable pulled out the future Iron Man tech. I like the fact that Iron Man, being Iron Man, knew exactly how to manipulate the future tech. And I like that Cable, being the soldier strategist he is, knew Iron Man was going to do that.
Now, I do have a question. What is your take on Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness having Hulk rape people on the covers of their comic books? Because, as you clearly stated by the third issue, Hulk is raping Cable on the front of the comic book based on the coming next issue.
Well, they set it. They set it up. They set it up with the dialogue from the page where I like admiring a guy with a big gun collection.
Yeah,
it's kind of creepy.
And there's a nice crotch shot of Hulk along with the Hulk raping Cable prelude for the next issue. And if you go back and you look at their run on Hulk, there was a couple pictures where like Hulk is beefy Hulk is mounting people from behind. I'm not exactly sure.
We need to get like a collage of all these images
to come on to be on this podcast and ask him about that.
I'm wondering if this is Jeff Lowe being like, I just want you to have Hulk be grabbing people from behind and like bear hugging them, because there's just like multiple covers have this same image.
Well,
I think it's Hulk's...
really get input on what's drawn on the cover?
Sometimes,
I'm sure they do.
A lot of times.
Sometimes.
But his facial expression is the most disturbing part. Yeah. It's almost like he jizzed.
Now, this had
is his jizz going to be green?
This had a better cliffhanger.
It'll be red, right?
Than the last.
Oh, red jizz.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely red jizz.
Shut up! This had a better cliffhanger than the last one, where it's the... Now Terminator 2 Cable is going to get shut off or die or turn off or whatever.
The virus is
fully taken over.
Well, but and I mean, and this is sort of a cheat. If Cable isn't now dead, isn't this sort of what was the point? The whole threat was when this virus takes over, I'm now dead.
Yeah.
So the virus has now completely taken him over. So if he comes back from it, then it should never pose a problem again, all right?
Well, the way I kind of see this, and now mind you, I think this is the first time it's been handled quite like this with the virus running rampant. I don't remember a case where his other eye changed to be glowing as well and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure in the next issue, he's going to flare up his telekinesis and push it back at bay or whatnot. Standard sort of grandstanding ending blam kind of shot. But that being said, this is one of those few times that when the Red Hulk sort of showed up and did something, I was kind of like, wow, that was actually pretty decent the way they used him for once, just because most of the time I'm not the biggest fan of the Red Hulk.
Yeah,
so in this case, I actually didn't mind that at all, and I also didn't mind the fact that the more wounded Cable gets, the harder it is for him to keep the virus in check. So I kind of... It's kind of weird because I'm half hoping they let Cable die at the end of this series, because I've been kind of pretty vocal that I kind of feel like, you know what? I love Cable. Big fan of the character.
Cable, your speedball, you just want him... Just kill him off, just end your pain and your suffering.
Not necessarily that. What it really comes down to is the current Cable incarnations, mission, goal. He's been kind of flip-flopping a little bit, and they keep trying to give him kind of a purpose, and then they kind of go, well, that purpose isn't working, so they kind of... And I think part of that is the fact that they're trying to keep him around, and I love Cable as a character, but he's a man with a mission, and... having him flip-flop around does not actually strengthen his character at all. So as far as I'm concerned, if you want to bring Cable back as a man with a mission again and whatnot, bring back an alternate version of Cable. As in, they've already established timelines have changed. The future's been rewritten X amount of time, meaning if you kind of follow that to its logical conclusion, baby Cable was taken to a different future at this point because the future has changed. Therefore, a different future version of Cable can come back.
It's this Cable that we know is this time anomaly is dead.
Crisis on Infinite Cables.
Yeah. Exactly.
But,
it's the way that as the future changes, obviously the Cable that could therefore exist in that future would change, and therefore you can kill this iteration of Cable, let his mission be over, and even have him come back with a completely different mission from a different future timeline that doesn't sort of cheapen the character.
Yeah.
Well, did you notice the Talbot reference?
I noticed it, but I don't know what it's in reference to.
I don't know what it's in reference to either, but it kind of jumped out at me because I remember when Loeb McGinnis gave us Red Hulk, I automatically knew it was two people. There was only two people it could be, and it could be either Talbot or General Ross.
Yeah,
because they're the only two characters that use the term milksop.
In this issue, Cable calls Red Hulk Talbot, who's the name of another army guy that a lot of people thought was originally the Red Hulk. They kind of set him up to be the Red Hulk, but it wasn't. So I don't know if this is just a reference back to maybe in the alternate world or the future it is Talbot. It's not General Ross. Maybe something else. But I didn't read that as anything weird other than just Loeb dragging that out even further. So, but yeah, I think Charlie, unless you got anything else to say about Cable,
No, I'm just looking forward to the next issue, and we'll continue nitpicking it.
We'll see you again in a few weeks. More Cable talk.
Yeah.
Cable talk. Yeah. It's got like a little outro song. All right. Give me that fucking look.
Give you whatever look I want.
We're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. We'll be back with our regular picks next week, Brock.
Yeah,
I know you love them.
I had 4 last week. I think I can give up having 2.
Excellent.
One this week.
If you want to listen to this episode again for whatever reason or other episodes, you can go to www.geekbox.net where this is hosted along with the Geekbox podcast and the Comedy Button. You can also go on forums.geekbox.net and talk to us on our comic book threads on their forums, which are fun and awesome, and like 6 people post there. So 3 or 4 more people should post there, and you can double our post count real fast. It's fun. It's fun stuff. Come talk.
Get
come
into an argument.
Well, yeah, it's an internet message board. Of course, you're going to get into arguments. You can go to our website, comicsconspiracy.biz. You can also go to digital.comicsconspiracy.biz if you're a fan of digital comic books. Comixology's put up a bunch of new stuff every week. You can get them on there. It's all new companies joining it all the time. If you buy it through that website, the store gets a little bit of a kickback. So there's an HTML5 version coming out in the next few months. So you can buy it on your iPhone, your iPad, your your iTouchPod, pad, Droid phone. Not Droid phone, that's different. So yeah, stop shaking your head at me, bro.
I will shake my head at you till...
Maybe I'll buy it from my
Want him to shake something else at you?
which isn't an eye product.
Nice. And what else? I think that's it.
You can visit conspiratorBrock.com.
conspiratorBrock.com.
Go check out the What Do You Think post and vote whether or not you think the zombie biter McFarlane toy from Walking Dead looks like a zombie version of Ryan Higgins, our host.
Yeah, whatever.
You didn't even click dislike.
Because that would involve going to your website and actually viewing it.
I know.
No interest in that.
It's time for you to wiggle something at him.
Yeah, you can visit us on Twitter, Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock doesn't use Twitter. Toby XI, you still on there? Charlie, did you ever say, do you use yours still?
I actually did relog into mine, so I know it still exists.
Nice.
I haven't started posting on there, but I do plan to soon. You can actually follow me on there at Insanity in Chaos.
Insanity in Chaos. That's really, you should change it to Charlie West. That's a much better Twitter name.
You can just attach it to his name on the website.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can also follow me on another podcast, The Infinite Long Box.
Oh, yes, The Infinite Long Box.
Yeah, so just if you're interested in downloading episodes of that, you can find it on iTunes just under Infinite Long Box.
Someone actually said we should call our end of the year awards the Long Boxies because the Geek Box Awards are called the Geek Boxies, and I was like, no, but that'd be like Charlie's end of the year podcast awards.
Ours are more like the short boxies.
The Long Boxies, yeah, the short bussies.
The short bussies.
All right, yeah, I guess that's it. We'll be back next week. talk briefly next week about the upcoming Batman crossover and the big night the big owl event thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
Talk about that next week.
Court of the Owls.
Court of the Owls.
I was reading about that today.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure we'll read other things on Bleeding Cool 5 minutes before recording the episode that we can talk about. Definitely we'll talk about that Court of Owls. That sounds good. So,
Yes, it does.
I think that's it. We'll catch
Are you
everyone.
sure?
I think so. We'll catch
It's
everyone.
never it.
It's never it, man.
It's it.
It's
What is
not.
it? We'll catch everyone next week.
Whatchamacallit?